Very nice.
So what's up, man?
Not much, brother. Not much. Just kind of, hanging out, living the dream, enjoying myself.
The so first thing we'll talk about today is that you and another buddy went out to Broken Bridge, right?
Absolutely.
And spent the night, man.
Mm-hmm. Spent the night
So
out in the woods.
and what did anything happen?
Yeah. So
Actually?
yeah. So we now again didn't see anything. Uh, Fully skeptical of all that, whatever. But we went out there. The whole day was pretty quiet. Nothing was going on during the daytime. And then at night, at around like 12, almost 1 o'clock, I would say, we started hearing, and this is my buddy heard him first, so this is coming from him. He heard the owls that sounded like owls, but they didn't sound like owls. He said,
I know exactly what you
"Yeah."
mean, dude.
He goes, "I heard owls, but they didn't sound like owls." And I was like, "What?" And then about a minute or two later, I started hearing them, and they were getting closer to the what sounded like they were either getting louder or getting closer to the campsite. And it was just the two of us out there within a fenced-in campsite, basically, with a fire going. We moved
Yeah,
the fire pit you set out back all the way back there, so that
nice. Yeah,
dude, it
because
was
the
a good
other
one.
one, dude, I was so afraid I was gonna start a forest fire.
Yeah,
Because
whole
if you get
bottom
any
burned
fire,
out.
because the bottom burned out, so if you get any kind of fire that's decent going in there, it was like all the leaves would start, and I'm like, I turn around and I'm like, holy shit,
Yeah,
half the,
there goes the woods.
so so yeah, that's
Yeah,
an
no, that
old,
was
so the
safe.
one that I brought out there, it's an old one that well, shit, when I bought this house, it was here,
Yeah,
but I built a fire pit. So I've had it. So it still has a bottom because I kept it covered.
yeah,
And I think it's gonna be good at least for the rest of the year or two, maybe.
yeah, yeah. Dude, it'll definitely last longer than the one I had pretty shit aluminum for the bottom, so it
Yeah.
just fell through. That's why I put it back there. Honestly, what I should do and what I'm going to do is dig out the area and just go find a bunch of the rocks from those fences and
Oh
just
yeah.
build a little fire pit back
Good
there.
idea. Actually, that's like a weekend project that we should do.
Absolutely, man.
Never even thought about it, but that would be awesome because we got
Speak.
plenty of stone back there.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of which, too, everything's basically dead. The trail's all torn down now. So it'd be a lot easier getting back there. That's for sure. Um,
Lot less buggy.
yeah, a lot less buggy. Yeah, there. When we were out there, it was like 60s during the day, and then 50s, 40s at night. It wasn't bad at all. No bugs
Yeah.
at all. But anyways, we start hearing this, and then it just subsided and went away, and didn't hear anything for the rest of the night. In the morning, there was like a muskrat poking at the tent, but it wasn't anything serious, just something like poking at the side of the tent, and
Yeah.
then it scurried off. It was something tiny.
Yeah.
Um,
Fucking
but
muskrats. So
yeah,
crazy. Last time I was there, I saw one. There's some funky looking things, man.
tiny little things, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, they can get kind of big though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I was like, holy hell, like,
Hmm.
you know, and
There,
it's like a rat, but not exactly like a rat. And you're like,
yeah,
oh, this is fucking weird.
yeah. I don't like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I mean, other than that, he did my buddy, and I got the chills from that one. But
So here's my question, like with
Mhm,
the owls that don't sound like owls. I mean, this is something that happens.
mhm.
Um, where allegedly Bigfoot's able to mimic um, you know, things in
Other
the forest.
creatures. Hmm.
And so one of the things though is like why it's like the way I think about it is why would the owl start getting closer? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe they're curious too,
Hmm.
but at the end of the day, I'm wondering what kind of owl, like what did it sound like? Because certain owls have more distinct calls.
Yeah.
So I
And
wonder what type of owls.
I could be wrong. I have no idea, honestly. Do they travel in packs of like?
No,
I couldn't
I
even
don't
tell
think
you.
so. I think
Okay.
they're pretty solitary, but they're,
Every time I hear them, it's usually one owl, and it's going back and forth for a while.
right.
It's not five or six or however many in a group, and it like distinctively coming from multiple
So
different spots.
there was definitely
More than one,
more than
absolutely.
one.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. Unless something was jumping around from side to side that quickly, making sounds again. Um,
Right.
we didn't see we couldn't see anything. It was pitch black. It was a full moon, so we did have that for some exposure, but still, you couldn't really see much of anything. You know how
Yeah.
dark it is and how thick the
Yeah, for
woods are
sure.
back there.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. And like the one owl that I do know distinctive has like a distinctive call is like a barred owl.
Yeah,
Um, but
and those are common here.
yeah, they are.
Mm-hmm.
So it absolutely could be an owl,
Hmm.
but sometimes it just doesn't quite sound like an owl, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but that was it, huh? No other things.
No, that's
All right.
unfortunately. I
Well,
was
it is
hoping to
what it
see it.
is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and the thing is, it's not like the intention wasn't going out there to hear or see anything. The intention was going out there for a camping trip, and that's
Just
how I
just to
try to
hang out.
keep it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just so like
You weren't like calling or knocking or
no,
anything like that. So
nothing.
it wasn't even like like
Hmm.
you were trying to make contact. You were just
No,
you
just
and your
camping.
buddy were just there.
Yep,
Hmm.
exactly. And then for it was very strange, man. Like it definitely sounded weird. Um, and I've heard owls again 100+ times back there.
Yeah,
It sounded like multiple
gotcha.
and weird, just this a little off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe, but my ears could be off too at the same time.
You never know.
You
Right.
never know.
Good good sense of skepticism there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hmm.
So, but it was fun.
It was absolutely. It was probably some of the. I mean, you know me, man. I just like being out there.
Yeah, you
So
just sit
if
out
I'm
there
out in the
and
woods, yeah.
shoot the shit and
Hmm.
yeah, it's good, man.
And not
I,
for this guy, I've been back out there with a few times. Every time we're out there, it seems like some weird stuff's going on in the woods. Now, again, doesn't mean it's every time it's been something different. Like we've always heard weird noises. One time, I'm pretty sure we heard a pack of coyotes ripping something apart. It was pretty. I
that's
mean,
very cool.
yeah, yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then bobcats all the time, which the first time you ever hear that, it's pretty terrifying. And
Oh,
the reason I'm
bobcats, especially like bobcats are
like
man,
screeches.
their call is like you're like, what is that?
Yeah, I thought I heard somebody screaming in the woods. I was terrified, and then come to find out it's a bobcat.
Yeah,
And again, like I'm saying all this to let you know that I'm not just I may be a novice when it comes to being out in the woods, but I I mean I basically half live out there. I'm in the
yeah,
woods all the time,
yeah, yeah.
hang out all the time. I understand what
So
I'm
you're not a
hearing a lot of
novice.
times.
You're not a novice to the woods. You're just
No,
a novice
to this space.
to this space,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And I mean, what is an expert in all honesty?
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not like anyone's got,
Yeah. Yeah.
hundreds of hours of it's not like somebody's living with them like Jane Goodall or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Allegedly there's some people that have, but who knows.
Yeah. Well, there's also if you wanted to talk about it, our trip to the forest.
Yep.
Should we just dive in?
Yeah, go on.
Right, so we ended up going out to the Allegheny National Forest, the Pennsylvania side of things. Found a nice spot. Ended up meeting up with a few people out there, and kind of went on night hikes to go check things out within the area. Went out, did some calls. We got to the top of one of the mountains. I don't remember specifically what mountain it was. And the three of us, myself, you, and a buddy got on top of one of these rocks and started hollering. and we could kind of see the entire landscape. And to me, that was probably the highlight of that entire trip.
Yeah, it
Man,
was
was
pretty
getting on
cool up
top of
there.
that mountain. Um, and then the next highlight was to follow. So that night, nothing happened. We didn't really hear anything. We ended up going back to camp. The night after that, we went out, and I still to this day can't believe my ears as to what I heard out there, man. Um, and this is no, we'd been out there a few days already. You know, this was, I think, what the last night
So
we
last
went out.
night, it's
Yeah, it was
always, it was the third night. And like I
yep.
said,
Mhm.
every time I ever go out, it's always the third night. It's when there's like tons of action. Not,
He did say
not, I
this.
mean, you might get you might get a little bit here and there. Like the night prior, when we looked at those nests, not the one that was kind of like out in the open, but
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other one, the second one that you and I went into,
yeah.
and you heard something barge
Like
out of that.
like a thud.
Something moved out of there,
Hmm.
and I could totally feel something. There was something had been there or was just out of reach, like just out of whatever. And that was a pretty like parts of that, like they were like bent over
Yeah,
trees that were like
yeah,
woven into the and like pinned down to the ground.
yeah,
Could a person have done it? Of course. It was
yeah.
kind of a well-traveled area, but it wasn't noticeable even from the road of
Hmm.
what it was,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it would have totally camouflaged anything from the road. The
You
other
couldn't
one
not
though,
see it.
the other one was right in the middle of a campsite.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I feel like it was totally somebody made that to like be cool or you know.
Like I would do something like that for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Like,
Yeah,
it's like a Boy Scout troop or
yeah,
something, put it
yeah.
together to be like, well, here's what, you could do in the back in the day or
Hmm.
whatever, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
But other
The one
people
in the
could
woods
think
was a little
different.
different.
That was a little different.
Hmm.
Um, so to me at least, and
Yeah,
feeling wise, it was just different. So anyway, but this was up from there
yeah,
to that one parking area. Well, it wasn't a parking area, it's just a flat area at the end of the road.
yeah. It was like a dead end to the top of the mountain,
And
basically.
we've set up a fire up there, the whole
Yep.
group of us.
Hmm.
And some people stayed there and some people went out.
Yep. And we trekked out a little bit, and then it wasn't until we came back to that site that I I first started hearing the sounds, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" You know, because it sounded like something from a distance, and then I ran towards it, pretty much.
Well, it
Uh,
would have been in an area that would have been perfect. It was a perfect overwatch of where we were, well, where
Absolutely.
everyone was watching the fire.
Yes, absolutely. And we were sitting there, and it was myself, you, and another
Jeff.
Jeff. Yep. I don't know if
Yeah.
I should be saying
Yeah.
names or
For
whatever.
him, yeah, you can.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
He'll be on here at some point too. So
Okay, okay. So the three of us, and we're standing there, and Jeff's pointing out, and he's like listen over this way, and it sounded legitimately like we were at the zoo, and we were in the the monkey cage or whatever. It
like the Ape House or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it was just howling monkeys in the
Yeah.
middle of the woods in the
There was
middle
a
of the
monkey
night.
fight in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. Yeah, I could not, but and to this is not an area near campsites. We were far beyond the campsites towards the
Well,
top of the
there was one
mountain.
campsite, but it was at least I give it at least a half mile away. At
Yeah,
least.
and to be fair, we could hear the campsite on the way there, but once we were at that spot, you couldn't hear shit from them. You
No.
couldn't see anything. We had thermal cameras. We had,
And they had a
uh,
pretty raging fire too. And
yeah.
if anything, it would have brought
What was also coming from the opposite direction.
curiosity though,
Yeah,
would have brought them to that area.
absolutely. And this is the thing. Like I'm trying to give, like I am holding a lot of skepticism, but the reality is Dude, monkeys in the woods.
It
Like, that made no
that just
sense.
crushed your skepticism.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it wasn't
Absolutely.
coyotes, it wasn't
No.
anything like that. No, and it was
Fucking
not. And
monkeys,
like
man.
literally, could see your face in the dark, just like your jaw was like, freaking
Yeah.
mouth was wide open, jaw was gaping. Like, no fucking way did I just hear that?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's considering like the whole trip, it had been pretty calm, you know what I mean? Like, and to the point where and not for nothing, I was like, all right, you're not going to see something every time, and you're not going to experience something every time. So I wasn't
No.
really going into it with that mentality, but I was excited, you know. And then when that
Yeah,
happened, the game changer,
it was
because
just
that
like
was
cherry
coming
on top
from,
of the whole trip.
yeah, dude, and not for nothing, we were looking at a section of the forest that was completely barren. We had the high ground, so we could see into the forest, and there was nothing. Nothing, no lights, no.
Yeah,
We hit it with thermals. There was not. We were getting nothing. Thermals and night vision. We
yep.
had the night vision out there as well. So
Well, the other thing too is as usual, as soon as we started pulling the thermal and night vision out, it all stopped.
like that.
Like a light went off.
Yep.
Like somebody flipped a switch.
Oh, like I was wild to me, man. I could not believe what we were hearing, and this went on for like 15 seconds of
Yeah,
monkeys like going at it.
at least maybe
It felt
closer to
longer.
30. It felt
Yeah.
longer, but I'd say it was closer to 30.
Okay.
Here's the other kicker with that, and I explained this to you, is because Mark had a recorder that he had set on top of my vehicle.
Yeah.
And
That stayed on there.
it stayed on there, but either way, it was on from the minute we got there till we got back to our campsite. He didn't know it was on top.
No
It
idea.
stayed on top, but either way, here's the thing. When you take that splice of time, about a 5-minute period, there's nothing.
Gone.
It's gone. It's like the recording, the 5 minutes is there, but there's no sound. And there's sound before it of everyone at the campfire. There's sound after it of everybody at the campfire, and us driving back.
Which makes no sense.
But there's a 5-minute gap where there's nothing.
And
so explain that shit.
Yeah, and we could potentially say that something like skipped out, but dude, specifically during that exact time frame, like,
oh yeah, and
especially when it wasn't moving.
It's not some shit recorder either. It's a good recorder.
Yeah,
and it's not like it was the battery was sucked out of it, but there's no. And it would be one thing if everyone had stopped talking for 5 minutes.
No, they were talking. But they didn't.
It's actually 4 minutes and change is what it is. And then it's just kind of funny that the activity that we had, because it wasn't just us. You could hear like people that were at the campfire, because we moved away from the campfire.
Yeah.
There was people at the campfire that they were hearing knocks down the mountain.
Like down
the other side, away from us.
Yeah.
We were off one side, and then they were these other noises were coming from down the mountain as well. So it was like there was things happening on both sides of the campsite, or of the fire site.
Yeah.
Just typical, squatchy nonsense that is like, of course nobody, of course we have no recordings, and of course we have no video, and of course we have none of the stuff. It's just what, frankly, at this point, I don't even pull my camera out anymore. It's just like,
it's almost like it's bound to fail.
Right. Or it's just not going to record.
Yeah.
And you're just like, so it makes you kind of feel a little crazy. You're like, but I just heard 20 to 30 seconds of monkeys battling in the woods.
Yeah. That's literally what it sounded like.
So like what? And people be like, oh, it's coyotes, but it's not. It was not.
No,
it just
absolutely
wasn't.
not.
Plus,
dude,
Jeff has been doing this 30 years. And he's just like, yep, this is like, they hear it all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And not for nothing, man. Like, I've been out coyote hunting. I hear coyotes on a consistent basis where I live. They come right up to my backyard.
Yep,
They live right in the forest. Right, I know where their dens are. Um,
absolutely.
they that was the farthest thing from a coyote I have ever heard. If that was a fucking coyote, I'm losing my mind. Then, like,
Yeah,
there's no way.
it's a coyote that looked like a chimpanzee.
Yeah, there's no way. There's
So
absolutely no way.
this is the other side of this too. So, um, like one of the guys that's with us that's been doing this for a long time, one of the Pauls,
Mm-hmm.
he's convinced that there's something else in Allegheny that's not per se a Sasquatch.
Okay.
It's the same thing that was in the pictures of
The rake thing.
no, not the rake. So yeah, that rake thing. That's so
That was
weird.
terrifying, man.
It's so weird. But there's a story behind that too that I've dug into. It's not about the picture, it's just about a rake in general.
Okay.
But anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit. But what the hell is the name of that video? It's like one of the things that brought Expedition or the damn Bigfoot show that came to ANF with Bobo and Matt
Okay.
Moneymaker. What the hell show is that? It's not Expedition Bigfoot, the one that's on now. It's the other one. It's the one that's
Okay.
not on anymore.
Okay.
Either way, damn it, what is that what is that video? Or it's not a video, it's trail cam video. Oh, it's the Jacobs pictures.
Okay.
And a lot of people think it's like a bear with mange or some weird stuff, but it looks kind of like a smaller type ape type thing.
Okay.
Not like a big Sasquatch. And yeah, maybe it's a juvenile Sasquatch or whatever, but there's a lot of people that think it's something totally different.
Okay.
But what yeah.
I mean,
and that it's more ape like.
Okay.
Like more chimp like, which this is one of those things is that they literally, and Jeff will tell you, they hear monkeys in the woods all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of other places that have a lot of Sasquatch activity, they don't have those type of sounds. It's not the same.
Okay.
So it kind of lends itself to possibly maybe it's something totally different. Maybe.
Who knows? Who knows? What do I know? You know?
I don't know shit either. So I'll be the first one to admit I'm moron to this. I do a lot of research, but
yes, absolutely.
It still doesn't mean I know anything. I can regurgitate lots of knowledge, but that doesn't mean I actually know anything, right?
It's the difference between being smart and intelligence, man.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So it's just crazy.
Yeah.
That place is definitely, but you get it now because that was the first time you had ever been there. That place has got this air to it, man. There's something about it, man. Just high strangeness.
Yeah,
for real.
That is the high strangeness, for no question about it, man.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Yeah, you get it. There's just an air. Well, I definitely had a watcher that one morning. But either way, we can tell that story. But
yeah,
go
absolutely.
ahead before I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that it's not like anybody was trying to like scare me or put stuff out in the woods to mess with me or anything of that. We were all together all the time.
Yep.
No, if someone had gone out there to put something, there's no way.
And we have radios and we do stuff.
Yeah.
We're safe. We stay safe, and you never go anywhere by yourself.
No,
and
it's a structured.
That's our rules. You know why? Because we've had some spooky, scary experiences. Plus, man, all I have to say is, David Pallades and the missing 411. Come on, bro.
No, nope.
In the National Forest, especially in that place, man. How far back were we in there? Like
deep, brother. We were deep.
And there's nothing, it could be some shady ass shit going on. And nobody would know.
You never know.
You could totally disappear. No one would know. I mean, Your car would be there, your camping gear would be there, and you would just be gone.
Yeah, like there were sites that we saw that we kept an eye on because we were like, hey, we still haven't seen people go back there yet. Like, what's
Yeah,
going on with
for
that?
sure. Like, what's going
Mhm.
on? Like, I
Yeah,
see these people, I see the tents and I see stuff, but like,
where is everyone?
where is everybody?
Yeah,
It's like some Sasquatch and the missing man stuff going on, you
yep,
know?
yep,
But yeah, but it's gorgeous.
yeah. No, it's absolutely beautiful, man.
Like
The
when we
one
went back and homeboy took a
shower.
bath in the
Yeah,
creek.
yeah,
But see,
that was
that's the type
awesome.
of thing that we were talking about. Like, this is the type of shit. Like, we turned our backs
Hmm.
that, when he was like changing, because I don't want to look at that shit. And
Yeah,
no, he's like, turn your back, it's a joke.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But this is one of those times when you're like, yep, we're gonna turn back and he ain't gonna be there.
Yeah, yeah, and we were just
But
hollering back for
but
him.
it wouldn't even phase us. It was like that was like the feeling that you got there. It's like
Mhm.
the whole time you're there, you feel like something's
Just lurking.
there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this
very
is why
strange.
everyone gets the willies for
Hmm.
sure. And
Especially at night, man. At night, I felt like I had supersonic fucking hearing.
yeah,
It's
well,
like,
because there's
especially
no,
off that ledge. The
yeah,
ledge, and it was sketchy. And for us to both be like pressed up against it like that, like we're first in contact if something's
yeah,
coming up that way.
something's coming up that way, man. It's
Oh
coming.
man, yeah.
And yeah, we had elevation, but
Hmm.
dude, if it's like an 8 foot tall
All right,
being,
he's
it's gonna tear us right
eye
off that
level
thing.
with me from the ground
Exactly.
down there. Yeah, I'm not fighting nothing.
I fell into a foxhole, so that was
Yeah.
fun.
Yep, that was
A literal foxhole.
yes. Almost
Uh,
shattered your ankle
yeah,
on
or
the way up.
my whole leg probably, but either
Oh my
way, it
god.
was fine.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the one morning, so I wake up super early. Everyone, I'm pretty sure that listens to this at this point understands that I literally get up at like, well, between 3 and 4 every morning,
Yeah. Yep.
and it's natural at this point. It doesn't.
Mhm.
It's just when I wake up. So
Mhm.
I woke up. I sat in my tent reading actually for about, an hour almost,
Mhm.
because by the time I unzipped to get out, it was about 5 in the morning. And I went out and got the fire stoked up all by myself, sat there for another hour by myself,
Yep.
which is cool, man. I
Yeah.
contemplate life, bro,
It's
and
nice.
all these things, right? And there you can still look because the stars are still out
Yep.
and there's nothing, there's no noise, light pollution at all. I mean, you
Mhm.
watch satellites come across, you watch everything. It's
Yeah.
it's pretty
You can see
amazing.
the Milky Way out there, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So with that being said, then the sun starts to come up a little bit, and I over across from the campsite on the other side, I see a tree shimmy, like just the it shook for no
Yeah.
reason,
Yeah.
right? And but it could be anything. It could have been a squirrel, could have been whatever, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I saw it happen again, and because there was like the sun was just peeking out, and it was like making the leaves had like dew on them or whatever, so it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
reflecting that dew. Well, um, that tree just kept like swaying back and forth,
Yeah.
and it totally. I just got the total feeling that something was watching me.
Yeah.
And I just have the sense. I just know. I just know.
Yeah.
And what solidifies that whole thing is, I just kept watching this tree like kind of sway back and forth. It's literally like something was holding on to it.
Yeah.
And it absolutely would have been set up the right way, and it would have been its right hand on the tree, and there's a dark space next to that where uh and of course, I don't know why, but I didn't think to go grab my thermal to look.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Duh,
Yeah.
that would have been smart, right? But
Mhm.
either way, a truck pulls in at like 6:30.
Yep.
because it's hunting season there now,
Mm-hmm.
or it was then.
Yep.
It was the first week of
First day.
first day of bow
Yeah.
hunting. So
Mm-hmm.
a truck came down and parked at the end of the campsite to go into the woods.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've been scouting the area out and just there's deer everywhere there anyway.
Yeah.
But,
well, we're at the edge of the site.
yes.
Anyways. Yeah.
And so they parked, and then as soon as they parked and got out of their vehicle, something big crashed through the woods and left that tree just like swaying. And it went off to my left,
Mm-hmm.
From right to left, just charging through the woods. So a deer's not going to stand there for hours.
No, and they also are silent.
Yeah,
like you're not gonna hear them. And if you do, you're gonna hear the crunching of some leaves, and that's it.
And it's going to be a quick. And I could hear the intermittent. That's the other part that I left out.
Mm-hmm.
I could hear intermittent like leaves crunching, like it's just like shifting position or something.
It's wild.
So, and then as soon as they got out of their truck, because it would have been within 15 meters of where this thing was at.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, something's crashing through the woods, and it's just like, yep, there you go.
Well, there's something else. I mean, and dude, again, like, even if you had grabbed your thermal, it probably would have been
you never know.
Off and gone by then.
But this is the thing that was kind of neat, is that the way that we had the camp set up this time, that's the only vantage point that they could have had.
Yeah, that rock face.
Basically. Or behind us.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it wouldn't have been a vantage point behind us, though, I don't think, because it would have been lower ground.
Yeah, yes and no. There's a couple spots back in there that are raised up a little bit. Not down the hill, not down that slope where I don't want to set up, but I always set up.
Yep.
Because I feel exposed as hell there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the spot over, like if you're standing at, like looking at where our tents were, over to the left.
Okay.
By where my car was parked.
I get what you're saying.
That's the other spot that we've had activity come from.
It is raised up there, yeah.
Yeah. So it's either that spot or it's the spot across the campsite, because the way Mark's trailer was parked, they couldn't use the ridge line.
Yeah. Yeah. There was no way. It was blocking.
Which is absolutely where they've set up before, is up on that ridge line. And that's where we've heard the howls and knocks and all the stuff.
Yeah.
So so it was kind of neat that we had it blocked off a little bit that time. They couldn't see the fire, so they had to move somewhere else. And still we had activity, or at least I did.
Well, we all technically did.
Yeah.
Later in that evening.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Third freaking day. It's like you got to get there enough to get the attention, like to wet their whistle to get them to going come look, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not like you want to be disrespectful and do shit to like piss people off, but it's like, you know what I mean?
You're doing enough to get a reaction. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is if I'm, as a person that knows how to go out and look for things in the whether it's in the woods or wherever, you look for signs, you look for commotion, you look for things that are anomalies across the trail,
stuff
like
that's out of place.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you start seeing those things, wouldn't you? Animals are curious creatures. They want to come and see what's going on too, and figure out whether you're a threat or not, you know?
Absolutely. And if it makes sense that they would be curious beings, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would make sense, right?
Isn't everything for the most part?
Yeah, I guess. A lot of stuff is like, nope, I'm out no matter what, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, especially if they feel safe, you know, and once they realize, oh, you're not out there, you know.
Yeah.
And we always go, and we're not like out there with weapons and shit. So I think we always are apt to get some activity because we're not being idiots.
Yeah. Well, there was another thing I wanted to suggest too, man. Like, I know this is off the topic a little bit, but maybe do like trips out to different areas we're interested in. You know what I mean? Like uh, wherever we see activity going on, kind of head out there. Not specifically just for Bigfoot, but like going to historical sites and getting some information while we're out there, at least just to
Oh
get
yeah,
eyes on.
definitely.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
I think
Of
that would
course.
add another layer to all of this for
Of
sure.
course. Of course. And, you know, a lot of times we've gone out during the day and found stuff, you know,
Yeah.
either at different locations or along like the trails there that we just off of the campsite.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, you know, that's usually what we do. We don't try to stay static. Some people do, but I don't.
No, we were wandering around, man.
So
we were definitely moving.
But yeah, definitely like use it as like a home. The problem is with that spot is that it is remote.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah.
get even back to the hardball to go anywhere that might be historic or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it's a
Difficult
35-minute drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to get back to a regular road.
Yeah, I mean, you're moving through the mountains the whole time.
So yeah, I mean, there's definitely some things that like we want to check out, like stories that we've heard about different things. We just have to dig into those and find out where, like, where did that shit happen there?
Yeah.
And, you know, luckily we have access to some of that knowledge. We just have to actually do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
But it's a good spot to go a few times a year, you know?
Yeah, I liked it, man. And it feels like a place that's always changing too. Like there's always going to be something going on.
Yep.
For sure. Vast.
Yeah, it's oh my God. It's so big.
Yeah. 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 It's pretty wild to me, man.
For sure. So what else we got to talk about? I don't really have anything.
I don't know, man. My brain's still pretty scrambled after the
for sure. Still.
You know.
And we're almost a month out. Where are we a month out?
Yeah, just about.
But this is the shit that like keeps you going, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like that happens and you're like, okay, like I'm still in.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, if anything, that just dragged me in even more.
It's like playing golf. I always use that analogy. You suck. We suck at golf, right? And you just suck. And for 17 holes, you suck.
Mm-hmm.
But and then there's that one drive. Mm-hmm. Doesn't even have to be a good hole. It can just be a drive that you catch it. And you're like, yep, this is why I do this.
Yeah, this is why I'm here, brother. This is why we came.
Hearing monkeys in the woods of Western Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Just random as all hell. Actually, it's more like north central. I don't even know. Northwestern Pennsylvania.
It's somewhere in there.
Oh, man.
Pennsylvania. It's just unbelievable. I still
can't the other thing that I've been noticing, so because obviously I do just immense amounts of research for this stuff.
Yeah.
Not just Bigfoot, but all these topics, right? There is such and I'm really looking forward to it, but I'm going to interview the guy who does the Bigfoot mapping project.
Okay.
Because, one of the biggest questions I want to ask him is, does he see an uptick in sightings?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's been doing this a while, right?
Yeah.
Because it just feels like there is not just a Bigfoot, but of a lot of things.
Of everything. Yeah.
Of everything. It just feels like, is it because it's more acceptable? Is it because, some of the stigma's gone? There's so many factors it could be, but I just feel like something is like, there's things coming to light. And I'm very woo-woo-y about a lot of this stuff. So I kind of feel like, it's meant to happen the way that it's happening, and things are revealing themselves to
Yeah.
us, and
Yeah.
people will be like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I don't care what you're saying, bro. The data says something totally different.
hmm
And
the reality is things are starting to come to light.
but it could be that it was always the same, but nobody would say anything. You
mhm,
know what I mean? Because they
Yeah.
weren't, and that's where I'm at kind of with that. Is it that, or
mhm,
does it feel like something else? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
'Cause
that's what I'm
could be
really
both.
digging into right now.
Well, the thing is too, we don't really. I think with technology getting as good as it is now, it's making it a lot easier for us to not only report these kinds of things, but like communicate with other people that may have reported on these kinds of things, so that community is there, so it makes it a lot easier. And of course, like, there's skepticism with the reports, but the reality is not all of them can be bullshit. If there's
No,
no way,
absolutely not. And
there's
and
no
there's
way.
just a lot more access
Yeah.
to being able to tell your story, right? Because there's
Yeah.
a gajillion podcasts. Um, there's some really good ones,
hmm
there's actually a lot of really good ones, but there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like maybe it's because I'm more in the space now, you just feel these things, or but I honestly think that there's some sort of energy.
Yeah.
Something's happening in the
Yeah. I
world.
do.
And
I
and I
100%
can't
feel
be
the
the
shift.
only person. I know I'm not the only person that
Mhm,
that feels that way.
mhm.
So,
No, I would agree with you, man. I feel like there's definitely a shift in people's energy, and especially in the last 5 6 years. I think I don't know. I don't know what it is either, man. I don't know. It could be just me, but again, like you said, I don't think it is. I think I'm. I don't know. It just feels different nowadays.
right?
Things just feel different.
It does.
Um, and I don't know how to explain that, but it does.
Yeah, it does. I can't go into it. I don't really know.
No, I have no
But it's
idea.
one of those things, like, I'm starting to really dig into that
hmm
stuff. I'm like, why does it feel different? Because Gwen and I had a conversation this morning about it.
Okay.
And we're kind of just like, because she was telling me a story about a friend of hers that gave her some reports about some things, and they're just so off the wall. But
Yeah.
like, you can't discount them because who the hell knows? I mean, you're talking portals and all kinds of shit, and it's
Yeah.
awesome
Yeah.
and would be a really cool. It's just like straight science fiction crazy books.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Do
it's like there's a reason that this stuff is happening, and
Mhm.
it would be another thing if she hadn't have gone there and had experiences as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you've had, I think, two different shows
Mhm.
filmed in the area where he is talking about this stuff,
Yeah.
Ancient Aliens and something else,
Okay.
talking about some of the same stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like, that kind of gives credence to things. But so either way, we were talking about that, but that seems to be just happening more and more in different places where
Yeah.
I'm coming across people in my either interviewing people or just, people reach out to me and tell me stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, wow, you know.
Yeah, dude. Well, it's the reality is, like, just to speak on my own experience, I was a huge skeptic of all of it. I didn't believe in the paranormal. I didn't believe in uh anything. I was an atheist fully, like, did not believe in anything. And then something, I had an experience, and I could not explain that experience. And there was no. I'm a very logical, pragmatic person for the most part. Yeah, obviously,
Right.
we all like
Right.
to believe in things. But I do try to look at things with some sort of reasoning. And when you cannot find an answer, man, especially it just makes no sense. And the multiple times that's happened in my life, I don't, I've learned to look at things with an open mind now, because you really never know, man. You don't. We are naive to think that we know it all.
Oh God. This is part of the issue that I have with people in general is it's humans in general are just we're so freaking arrogant in our assumption that we know anything,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
as
Hmm.
as if the, planet wasn't here before we were, and
Yeah,
like we have any say on what happens at
yeah,
all,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Not
I
really,
mean,
man. Not as much as you would think. And
mhm,
it's like, I mean, I just like to use the idea of this is people always talk about man-made climate change. And yeah, sure.
mhm,
I'm sure we have some sort of we have a, some sort of impact on the climate, right?
absolutely.
And on the planet. Duh.
Hmm.
Okay. But also on the other side of things, when you see two volcanic eruptions, right,
Yeah.
that have both been recorded,
Hmm.
right, and we know about them, we know the numbers, we know that we have the data, and you take those two volcanic eruptions, which how many volcanoes do you think are tapping off across the planet at any given moment?
Couldn't
Probably
even
a
tell you.
decent amount, right?
Yeah.
But enough, more than
Yeah.
one, maybe two,
I'm
maybe
sure
three,
more.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Doesn't matter. We have two. If you just take two, right, that we
Hmm.
know were big eruptions, and you crunch all that data, those two eruptions released more CO2 into the atmosphere than humans ever.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
not just like in the last decade.
Hmm.
No. Since
Since
allegedly we
humans are.
became
Yeah.
whatever we were
Yeah.
125,000 years ago.
Mhm.
Let's just say Homo sapiens sapiens
Yeah.
became a thing about 200,000 years ago.
Mhm.
Since then till now,
The eruptions did worse.
the
Well,
eruptions put way
not.
more CO2 into the atmosphere. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just don't think that
There's
we
always
have
two
some
sides to a coin.
right, but
Yeah.
it's always at the end of the day is we are not as important as we think we are.
No, absolutely not. Mother Nature could, if it chose, could wipe us to extinction in
Oh,
the
yeah,
snap of a finger. Like,
God,
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
bro, just
mm, yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah,
done.
exactly. Yeah, just bye, see ya.
And there ain't a
Um,
damn thing you can do about it.
nope, nope,
So
nope. That's the thing, man. I mean, we could throw it up to luck or whatever it is, but I think there's a reason we're here. I think that,
for sure.
yeah, I don't know. My life's played out in a very strange way, to where I can't really believe in. I don't believe in coincidence anymore. It's just too much has happened too many times and shown me too many different things. That I don't know. I kind of believe there's a plan now or something. I don't know what it is, but it's something's going
Some
on.
intelligent design, right?
Yeah, something.
Signs of the paranormal. I'm actually looking this up.
Hmm.
Um, are signs of the paranormal increasing? Good old
Oh,
Google. Let's see what it says live. Yes, there's anecdotal evidence that paranormal sightings and beliefs have increased, particularly during the pandemic. Well, it's because everyone had nothing else to do, right?
yeah, yeah. Besides,
So you
look
have
outside.
ghost sightings are up, UFO sightings are up, paranormal beliefs, magical thinking,
Okay.
all these things
Magical thinking, huh?
like ghosts.
Okay, okay.
Since that, well, this is just an example. Since the 1970s, people believing in ghosts have gone up 400%.
Wow. Well,
So,
that's also a stigma thing too. I have to imagine.
oh, absolutely. So, and
Yeah.
and this is one of those things. It's like, do I actually feel? But I do feel like there's this shifting,
At
like
least the belief is there.
rise, like
Yeah.
this shifting rise in like and frankly, it's like faith.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
It's on the rise as well.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well, if you
I
believe
see.
in the paranormal, you have to believe in an afterlife
Well, I think that what
for the
ends up
most part.
happening is like I can speak for myself as a Christian.
Mhm.
and the church, right?
Yeah.
You go to church, and so many Christians, and I use that term loosely,
Hmm.
people that consider themselves Christians, they go to church all the time, but they don't. And they get the word, and the preacher talks about what he talks about, or the priest talks about what they talk about. But how many of them actually believe in the supernatural side of this?
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're literally saying that your Lord and Savior is somebody that rose from the dead,
Hmm.
but that's the only thing supernatural that happened.
That's it. There's nothing else.
There's nothing else in the Bible it's all hyperbole and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That type of stuff. And I just
Yeah.
can't abide by that. Like,
Yeah.
there were giants, there was this all existed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to take the idea that, but some people, that's too far for them. Like,
Hmm.
but I see it, people waking up. I even, like, my wife,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
people kind of like, okay, I see it. Like, here's how it is. And it's like, but here's part of the issue is none of it's taught either.
No. No.
That's kind of
Like.
what this podcast is about, to an
Yeah.
extent. It's planting those seeds so people think about it, and maybe they look at it. I've been getting a lot of heat lately because people are saying, and you'll take issue with this, but it's
Yeah.
fine. This is how I know I'm doing something right.
Okay.
It's like getting a lot of comments in posts that my content doesn't have any substance,
Okay.
or that there's 5 minutes of real content in the 35-minute episode. And I don't disagree with them. I
Okay.
don't. You know
Hmm.
why? Because it's not made for that, idiots.
Yeah.
I, and I don't want to be an asshole about it, but at
Hmm.
the end of the day, and I'm like, thanks for listening.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, if you knew anything about me, or you knew anything about the podcast, like, maybe listen to the intro episode.
Hmm.
You'll understand that it's not about a deep dive. I might say the words deep dive, but I don't actually mean deep dive. What I'm trying to do is spur people's emotional side
Hmm.
to look into these things on their own. Because
Yeah.
me telling them about them, it's going to go in one ear and out the other unless something hits them.
Hmm.
But if I'm to go into an hour or 2 hour long episode on some minutia diatribe about every single thing that I talk about,
Yeah.
no one's going to listen.
No. No. It's
And
gonna
that's
be
not what,
dry.
again, that's not what it's about. It's about broadcasting seeds. It's
Yeah.
about planting the seeds in people's minds so they go do it themselves. So if you need me to tell you about it, or if you already know about it, why are you even listening?
Yeah. Yeah. No.
So
That's
if you have enough, if you have the wherewithal and or the knowledge to say, yep, no, he's only got 5 minutes of real content there.
Yeah.
Well, first off, then start your own podcast and help
Yeah.
educate people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or
Why be?
or come on the show and educate me or educate the other people. It's fine. That's fine. That's what we are starting to do, because we're starting to do episodes with guests. Like, we've had a
Mhm.
couple guests, and if you notice, those episodes are different than the regular show.
Yeah.
The show, it's wave tops, it's broad strokes of knowledge. It's not, I need to stop
Detailed.
using the deep
Yeah.
dive, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know it's hyperbolic language,
Yeah.
but
But
at
the
the end of the
reality
day,
is, that's not what this is for. That's not at all what the content has even been about. The reality is, again, and I mean, we discussed this in length, man. I don't think, obviously people don't understand that are
no,
saying
of
these
course they
things.
don't. That's fine. And
But
that's
the
fine.
reality is, like, you're not here to force anyone to believe. You're not here to spread anything. You're legitimately here to show people, hey, these things are out there, and
Yeah.
here's the seed. If you'd like to plant it into this kind of
And you
information and
have
look into it, go right
the
ahead.
entire internet. You have the entire culmination of human knowledge at your disposal. So get after it.
Yeah.
And
all there.
that's all I'm trying to get people to do.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so I mean, I have a thick skin. I
Mm-hmm.
laugh because I know I'm doing something right if that's the case.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's just kind of funny.
You've gotten enough
I
people's
wanted to
attention.
bring it up. I wanted to
Yeah.
bring it up. So it's
Why not here, brother?
yeah,
Why
well,
not here?
where else am I going to bring it up?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, it's just humorous, some of the comments, and it's great.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, then you know what? I invite you all, if you want to make, trolling type comments, then
Mhm.
come on the show and let's talk about it. Let's
Yeah.
talk not about your comments. I don't give a shit. I don't
Yeah.
care about your comments. I
Yeah.
want to know what you can impart, what knowledge you can impart on the listeners and educate people, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if you listen to one of my episodes, you can probably count on both hands and all your toes the amount of questions that I ask.
Yeah.
I ask the audience questions. I don't tell them what they need to think. I ask them, what if there was this, or what if there was
Mhm.
that? So
Yep.
with that being said, maybe people understand a little better.
Yeah. Seeds are being planted. That is all.
Correct. That's the idea.
Yes.
It's not about, well, and but we talked about this at the beginning of this whole journey.
Mhm.
That I would do about 50 explainer episodes talking
Mhm.
about different topics, and then we would probably pull one episode a week and do an actual dive into like serious content, like
Yeah.
the actual like sighting, and like taking an entire episode to talk about like this one sighting and what,
Yeah.
or whatever, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
absolutely. Yeah.
So
There's your deep dive.
yeah, there's your deep dive. It'll
Mhm.
happen. It's just
Yep.
not gonna happen right, you know.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Mm.
So fun times,
And
my friend.
absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Um, and at the end of the day, you're doing something that very few people are willing to do. Well,
Well, we're already better than 99% of podcasts.
there you go.
Meaning, and I don't mean better, that's not the right word. We're already the 1% because
Yeah.
we've got over 20 episodes.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
I
You're
think
pumping them out.
literally, I think the average podcast is 20 or 25 episodes.
Wow. And you're already how many in now? Jesus
I
Christ.
think we have 40.
Holy.
But by the end of this week, it'll be 40. Oh, it's because I'm doing 7.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going full time, brother. That's
So,
again, I don't think people understand that.
yeah,
Mhm.
sort of. Yeah. And I do have another podcast that I
Yeah.
produce and host as well. So it's not like this is the only one.
Yeah.
But we're not even going to go into that.
No.
So
No.
people are probably like, what is that podcast?
Yeah.
I challenge you to go figure it out.
Yeah, go find it. Yeah, there you go.
Challenge you to go find it. It's not hard.
No, it's not at all. You
You
just have to look
do
you up.
a little looking, a little digging,
Do some digging. You'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Give them some. That's the homework for next time.
Yeah, that's
figure
the
out
homework.
what other
my other podcasts or
Dennis
other
doing.
podcasts that I've done. I think I've got about 1,000 hours of podcast out there.
Yeah, they're all over the place, brother.
For literally the past 10 years.
Yeah, you are easy to find on the internet. That's
some
for sure.
jackassery for a lot of them. But,
Yeah, that's all right, man.
That's exactly what it is.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah. Also, did you see the Bigfoot that my wife made? The pillow.
Oh, the Bigfoot. Yeah.
The Bigfoot.
Absolutely,
Isn't that cool,
dude? That is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
huge, dude.
Well, it's not that big. I mean, it is. It's
Yeah.
like, I think it's probably 17 or 18 inches total.
That's why. How long did it take her to knit that?
Not very long, man.
Wow.
Like a day. If that, like less than a couple hours, really, when you break it all down.
That's
dedication. I bought the pattern a long time ago, and I was like, "Hey, can you make me this?"
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe we'll start selling them or something.
Why not, man? Why not? It's a good pillow. It's a good camping pillow. Absolutely.
Actually, it's the perfect camping pillow. That size, at least.
Just saying.
Just saying. Perfect camping pillow.
Yeah.
For all your squatching needs.
Yeah. Free order. No,
There's some stupid.
Yeah.
There's some stupid freaking shameless product placement.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, if you would like, I do sell t-shirts and stuff. I mean, if we're talking about product placement, and they're broadcasting season, and I've never done this before on one episode. So we're almost 50 episodes in at this point, and I've never said a damn word about it. But go to the longstoryshirt.com. And there's gear for the show. There's stuff for the show, plus some of my other endeavors. But the longstoryshirt.com. Check it out. See what you think. Maybe order a shirt, maybe order a sticker, maybe order whatever, or let me know what you want, because I can make anything. So, yeah.
The man can do it all.
Some shameless product placement.
Find all your broadcasting seeds needs. There you go.
No, I don't like to get all salesy. So, but whatever.
We'll plug you. Why not?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So all the proceeds go to this lovely thing that we do here. Yeah. So.
Why wouldn't you want this to keep going?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It's going whether they want it to or not. So
yeah, exactly.
Sorry, folks. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're stuck with me, or you can just shut it off.
Yeah.
How about that?
How about that?
One of the things I never understood, like people make such rude, disgusting comments.
Yeah.
When all they have to do is just shut it off.
Yeah.
Shut it off.
That's it.
Like, so you're simple. A fucking loser. Like, right?
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
What
Dude,
what other literally like a troll under the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
just waiting for a moment to dive onto something.
And from their basement, from their mom's basement.
Yep. I got this, motherfucker.
All
right, buddy.
It's so funny.
All righty. Yeah.
It's so funny. God. But
well,
whatever.
That's the thing. As long as you never let it affect you personally, because the reality is,
no.
Who are these people?
I don't even know.
Exactly.
Nor do I really care. But obviously I care enough to make it say something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fleeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just never read the comments.
Yeah, I guess, dude. That's why they say it.
That's what Joe Rogan always says. Never read the comments.
Yep.
Which I don't actually in most of the platforms, but I'm trying to like grow our YouTube.
Yeah. And you kind of have
and one of the things that you have to do there is engagement. Mm-hmm. It helps the algorithm, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to read the
you have to read the bullshit.
I have to read the
good
bullshit.
And the bad.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of love out there too, man.
Oh, there is actually.
Yeah.
There's more.
But
but this is why a lot of times you feel like the dark has more power, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It takes one bad comment out of 100 good comments, and you're gonna latch onto that bad one.
Bad one, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's just nature. That's the nature of human nature.
Unfortunately.
All right, man.
All right, brother.
But let's we'll wrap it up and we'll do this again next week.
Sounds good, my friend.
We start getting consistent with it.
Yeah. Good old Sasquatch Sunday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right, my friend.
All right, brother.
I will talk to you soon. Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk soon.
I got bad thoughts that make my mind scared. Hold me hostage and they don't fight fair. Who gon' pray for me and wipe on my tears? Who gon' save me if you not right here? Move this darkness and make my sight clear. Take me your way cause I don't like here. Ghosts of my past, they feeling the night air. Wake me up, I'm trapped in my nightmares. Wake me up, I'm trapped in my nightmares. Drowning, I'm off the deep end. Apparitions of all my demons. All my thoughts are committing treason. All alone, who gon' hear me screaming? Manifestations of my fears, regrets that stretched out for light years. Can almost touch the light, homie, it's right there. Body free but trapped in my nightmares. Wake me up, don't let me drown. All the lights are fading now. All my life is fading now. All my life is fading now. Wake me up, don't let me drown. All my life is fading now. All my life is fading now. Body free but trapped in my nightmares. Wake me up, I'm trapped in my nightmares.